Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, a 100-year-old man just married a 96-year-old woman.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Wow. You know, when I turned 100, I just wanted to take a nap. That was my goal. Take a nap.
What? You know, I mean, I guess if you're children and those are your parents either set, you just let it go, right? I guess. Well, you got a prenup?
I think it's nice.
I mean, what do you got? What are you working with here?
I think it's nice. Come on now. It's nice. A 100-year-old man, 96-year-old woman, that's nice. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Dan Hurley makes a decision. The Oilers and Panthers are back on the ice, and the Dodgers take 2 or 3 from the Yankees. But we begin today with the NBA Finals. Boston beat Dallas last night to open up a 2-0 lead. The margin was 7 points, but Dallas never got within a basket in the fourth quarter. Boston was led, surprisingly, by Jrue Holiday with 26 points and 11 rebounds. Wilbon, you were there.
Yeah.
How does this series look to you?
Tony, it looks like Boston is just better. Like better in a way that Dallas may not be able to solve. I did not see that coming. I thought Dallas was going to even this series last night. And for a while, they had the lead early in the game. And then they had a burst late when Kyrie Irving got started, but it was too late. And in the middle, the big middle, Boston was just better. And they don't even need these some great performance from Jason Tatum. And, you know, the debate, which, you know, Jason Kidd inserted himself into about who's better, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. It doesn't matter. Boston's better. Now, Dallas has game 3 coming up. They got to do something about it. It's got to start with Kyrie Irving. Because I mean, Luka Doncic was barely able to walk during the warm-ups. He's holding various body parts. Goodness knows, I mean, those of us presume there was a shot at some point to kill the pain. And he was out there dragging himself around and being great in the first half. But, Tony, they got to get more. They got to get more. And it starts with Kyrie Irving in Game 3, a must-win for Dallas. But Boston just looks like the better team.
Yeah, so it's good that you mentioned Kyrie Irving, because the storyline throughout the entire playoffs was the resurrection of Kyrie Irving. And now here's Kyrie Irving shooting against Boston, 13 for 37 from the field, 0 for 8 from 3. That stinks. It stinks. It's just not good enough. I mean, it's really not. Look, I'm going to sit here today. I'm going to tell you what I told you when I sat here last week, that I would pick Boston in the series and I would do it without hesitation, right? I mean, Boston in the playoffs right now, I believe, is 14-2. They've won 9 in a row. They're undefeated on the road, 6-0. The 2 games that they lost, and the one game where there was a big scare, Game 1 against Indiana, then they won the next 3 in each case, and they closed out the series. I respect Dallas as a good team. I believe in the old adage that the playoffs don't really start till the home team loses a game. And I think Dallas can win 1, maybe 2. I can't see them winning 4 at this point, Mike. The star of the first game for Boston was Porzingis. The star of the second game was Holiday. These are gift games. They haven't had to rely on Tatum and Brown. If you can go up 2-0 in the NBA Finals and not climb the backs of your stars, that's amazing. So, yes, at the moment, they look, you know, like Tony, I thought they looked. They look better.
The team that is in the finals, if you go up 2-0, those teams are 31-5. So it's not to say it's impossible, but that's pretty overwhelming. And Jason Kidd, he's got to figure out something that can help free up Kyrie Irving, particularly for starters in Game 3.
Dan Hurley has made up his mind. Hurley today passed on the Lakers head coaching gig and will stay at UConn as the Huskies go for their 3rd straight title. Los Angeles reportedly offered $70 million over 6 seasons. He has been coaching at UConn for $32 million over 6. Wilbon, what does Hurley's decision say to you?
Well, Tony, you know, it says he wants to stay at UConn because that's what he's doing. He can go for a three-peat, that rare thing that you don't see in men's college basketball. And good for him. It'll make the college basketball season exciting. It gives you something to, as they say, hang your hat on when we get to, you know, midnight madness and maybe even March madness, that Hurley and UConn are going to be viable again. Good for him. But, Tony, I wonder what it says, because he has said publicly he wants to try it at the NBA level, to coach at the NBA level. He ain't getting a better offer than this. Don't tell me that accepting the gig at the Bulls whenever they make a change, or the Hornets, or the Pelicans. Don't tell me that those are better jobs than the Lakers at that amount of money. So we can hear from Hurley again. Somebody's going to go after him again. They'll figure if he's tempted now, he'll be tempted down the line. But what this really says something about college basketball ought to be happy, because it's in chaos right now. And having Hurley and UConn to headline, to be on the top of the marquee, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm glad he turned the job down. I don't think, as you know, we've spoken about this, I don't think he has the temperament for the NBA right now. I mean, I really don't. He's a screamer. He's running up and down the sidelines screaming all the time. Yeah. To me, he's like that high school coach and teacher that everybody wanted to have in high school. But the modern NBA players, they're not going to respond to that. They're not going to. They don't want to be coached. No. They want to be pampered. They want to be indulged. So I don't think that's a really good fit. And I'll take issue with something else that you said. And by the way, I will just add this. He's probably a great teacher in practice at UConn, but the NBA, they don't even have practice. They got too many games in too many weeks. They don't really practice a lot. So people have to understand that difference. I mean, my sense of Dan Hurley is that this is a good thing for him to avoid the NBA at the moment. If he wants, and maybe he's an East Coast guy, Mike. Maybe he's an East Coast guy. Maybe he wants an I-95 NBA job somewhere down the line. But I wanted to say this. The issue that I take with you, I don't think the Lakers is a good job, Mike. Let's go through the coaches.
I didn't say it was a good job. Jackson. There's no issue with me. I didn't say it was a good job.
Darvin Ham, 2 years. Frank Vogel, 3 years, and he won a championship. Luke Walton, 3 years. Byron Scott, 2 years. Mike D'Antoni, 1+. Mike Brown, 1+. It's you just take it for the money, Mike. The job doesn't last. It's not a good job.
It's the best position he's going to be offered in the short term in the NBA. Best position. You want to compare the Lakers' job as quick as you may be fired? Would you take the Lakers' job over the Charlotte Hornets?
He want the Kentucky job.
Huh?
No, but that's not different. That's different. The Lakers isn't as good a job as you think. And he didn't even talk to Kentucky. He didn't even talk to them. Let him stay where he is and be happy.
Stay where you are and be happy. Damn it.
Be happy.
Yeah, stay with those college kids in that chaotic college basketball. Do that. The Oilers try to even up the Stanley Cup final tonight in Florida. Panthers goalie Sergei Bobrovsky was impenetrable in Game 1. Stopped all 32 of Edmonton's shots on goal in Florida's 3-0 win. But the Oilers had some great chances, and winger Zach Hyman said, quote, "If we play like that, we're going to be fine," close quote. So how should the Oilers feel going into tonight's Game 2?
Mike, I don't think they have to win this game. I honestly don't. They have to figure out Bobrovsky at some point. Obviously, he pitched a shutout. Since the year 2000, there have only been 5 shutouts in the opening game of a Stanley Cup round. So he's clearly a great goalie. But they come at you in waves of scoring. You mentioned Hyman. They've got McDavid. They've got Draisaitl. No other team is like that. They are equipped, Mike, to win the series without necessarily winning tonight. Having said that, I'm going to go back to what I said last week, that I think everything does favor Florida at this point. I mean, Florida's got a terrific defense. Obviously, they've got a terrific goalie, and it's different than last year. Last year, they weren't healthy in the final. Last year, they had one defenseman who had a broken foot and 2 dislocated shoulders. You only have 2 shoulders, can't have 3 dislocated shoulders. And their best overall player, Kachuk, broke his sternum in the final. So, I mean, I think they're in better shape now, but I do still think Edmonton can win. I just don't think they will.
But if I'm Edmonton, I do feel good about it. And, they got an old adage, and we hear players talk about this all the time, but those chances, some of those chances need to be had with more traffic in front of Bobrovsky. They have got to distract him. They got to bother and annoy him. And so they had some clean chances. They need more traffic in front of the net to just get him off his game. They better shake Bobrovsky. That's what they've got to do. You're right. They have the players to do that. We've seen them do it throughout these playoffs. They got to go back to where they were on the power play, which is overpowering. And I think Edmonton gets tonight and evens it up at 1-1.
Maybe. Just remember this. They had 3 shots at a power play and didn't get any.
I know. They got to be better on the power play.
Coming up, was Team USA right not to invite Caitlin Clark?
Yeah. And was Carlos Alcaraz's first French Open title a bigger accomplishment than Iga Swiatek's fourth? That was a spoiler alert.
I don't think you can compare the Laker job to the Charlotte Hornets job. The Laker job is supposedly the most glamorous job, that and the Celtics. And I don't think it's a good job.
The Wizards.
They churn through coaches.
The Wizards. How many jobs did you take above the Lakers in the entire NBA? Maybe 3?
No,
max.
8 to 10.
You know, 8 to 10, that many? Really?
It's a 2-year. Time to read the chaff from the riffraff. I like that line. Let me see what's first here. Go to the glasses. Here we go. Any issue with Caitlin Clark not being named to the Olympic team?
Not only do I not have an issue, let's get something straight. She doesn't belong on the Olympic team. She hasn't deserved to be on the Olympic team. She's not as good as 20 American women who can be on that team, probably 25. And I'm tired of people, including my dear friends Christine Brennan and Stephen A. Smith, saying, well, she can grow the game. The point is not to grow the game. The point is to win the games. We play to win the games. The Olympic team is about who deserves to be there. She does not deserve to be there. She's handled it beautifully. She can go in the future. She will earn the right to go to the Olympics probably in 4 years. Now, she's not close to deserving.
Okay, I have a completely different opinion, and my opinion is a marketing opinion because, as you know, I believe the Olympics is a television show, and I believe that Caitlin Clark is the greatest attraction of any female athlete in the world, if not any sports person in the world. If I was NBC, I'd be livid that she wasn't on the team because she's going to guarantee me great ratings. Do I think she deserves it? No. I'm agreeing with you in that, but I think we're going to win anyway. I don't think her being on the team is going to stop us from winning. And you know what I would do, Mike? I would make her the college player on the team in the way that Christian Laettner was on the original Dream Team.
Yeah,
That's awful. What I would do because I think it's marketing. I honestly believe it's a marketing issue.
If you take that approach, that's defensible. I take the opposite. This is about competition. Okay. This is the Olympics.
Okay.
Gold medal, not marketing.
I know. I think they'll win anyway. Does Scottie Scheffler's win at the Memorial make him the clear favorite for this week's U.S. Open?
Favorite, I guess so, because that's about odds in Vegas. And we know, Tony, it's really tough. He's won 5 times already, my goodness, including the Masters. Yeah. But, it's so hard to win back-to-back weeks going into the major. And you have played Pinehurst, and all I heard from you was how difficult, how awful impossible it was. And so even for Scheffler, even for somebody as great as Scheffler, Tony, when you hear about Pinehurst every time in 2014, I remember all the complaints about it. I don't know if he's the favorite. I can't wait to see how he performs. I don't know if he's a favorite.
He's a favorite because he's won 5 tournaments already this year.
He's the best.
Last guy who won 5 out of his first 8 was Tiger Woods. He's the first guy in 60 years to win 5 tournaments before the end of June. He didn't. I understand. He's got 11 straight top 10 finishes. But what's interesting to me, because you and I watched this yesterday, he was vulnerable yesterday.
Yes, he was.
Colin Morikawa, if he makes that 6-foot birdie putt on 15, ties him and maybe beats him. Because Scottie Scheffler won a tournament by finishing over par on a Sunday. I think he's certainly the first name that you have to talk about.
Sure.
And Pinehurst is a fabulous looking course. I think it'll be great fun. You know what I found out today? This is the first time he's ever won a tournament as late as June. And by the way, the tournaments he's won this year, the Players, the Masters, the Arnold Palmer, the Nicklaus, Hilton Head, these are great tournaments. He's great.
He's the best in the world, but I'll take the field. I'll take the field starting Thursday at Pinehurst.
As long as you don't take field, you take the field. Bigger deal. Iga Swiatek winning her 4th French Open, or Carlos Alcaraz winning his 1st?
I think it's Swiatek. I think it is. Because the women's side of tennis is stronger right now. The men are in great transition. I understand, but we're like 3 years out of Serena Williams, 4 years really being Serena Williams. And so now you've got Osaka back in the mix, coming back in, and she gave Swiatek the toughest time. I think the Swiatek's win was more impressive to me and a bigger deal. Alcaraz is going to be a huge deal maybe for the next 10, 12, 14 years. Right now, Swiatek.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to get too crazy about winning the French because there are more forgettable winners in the French than in any other major. It's not like winning Wimbledon. It's a very big deal to have 4 French titles at the age of 23. The leader of all time is Chris Evert. She had 7. Steffi Graf had 6. But to be fair, Nadal has like 14. So I'm not impressed with a number like 4, 6, or 7. I think the ripples from Alcaraz are greater, and I'm going to tell you why. He's got 3 majors. He's got all the surfaces. He's got grass. He's got clay. He's got hard court. He's only the 7th person ever to do that, and he's the youngest. And the others, this is a who's who, Mike. Nadal, Agassi, Federer, Djokovic, Connors, Mats Wilander. And he's only 21. So to me, Alcaraz's victory has the larger implications. You don't see it that way,
Well, it has implications. I'm just looking at the field. I'm looking at his competition.
Right.
It's still, sort of, mushrooming up.
It's forming.
In
it's
2 or 3
we
years, I think this could be an amazing field of men again. But right now,
Enough email. Let's take one last break. Still to come, my thoughts on the event everybody is talking about.
Really?
Dornock's big win at the Belmont Stakes. Yeah.
Was that this month? Was that?
Yeah.
The Dodgers take 2 out of 3 at Yankee Stadium. I watched parts of all 3 of those, but not
those
much.
games were great.
It's just
those games were great.
It's June.
Happy time, people. Happy 73rd birthday, Dan Fouts. One of the greatest pure passers ever. The Hall of Famer played college ball at Oregon, then went to the Chargers, where he led the NFL in passing yards 4 times and in passing touchdowns twice. Fouts got the Chargers to the AFC Championship game twice, but lost to the Raiders and then the Bengals. Although the Chargers never got to the Super Bowl with Fouts, they were legitimate contenders. Now the Chargers have a former quarterback in their coach in Jim Harbaugh and a terrific passer at quarterback in Justin Herbert. Wilbon, can they be legitimate contenders again?
I think they can be, Tony. And we've seen Jim Harbaugh, people make, poke fun. They do a lot of things, a lot of criticism. He wins wherever he is. He won in San Francisco. He won at Michigan. He's going to win. See, to me, it's still San Diego. Put the baby blues on, San Diego Chargers.
Oh, happy anniversary, Montreal Canadiens. Around this day 31 years ago, the Canadiens held Wayne Gretzky without a shot on goal as Montreal beat the Kings in 5 games to win the Stanley Cup. They're the last team from Canada to do so. Vancouver got to the Stanley Cup final in 1994 and 2011, but didn't close. Calgary missed in 2004, Edmonton in 2006, Ottawa in 2007, and the Canadiens again themselves in 2021, that weird COVID playoff year where all the Canadian teams were in the same playoff bracket. Additionally, these 1993 Canadiens are the last Cup winners comprised of only North American-born players.
As you know, for the last few seasons, and particularly this year, I've thrown in with my Canadian brothers, rooting for Toronto and Edmonton all the way. I still got a horse in this race if I can sort of just attach myself to the Edmonton Oilers. Have you ever been to Edmonton? Because I have been.
Have not.
See?
I have not. Sorry to say I have not. A melancholy trails to Chet Walker. The Hall of Fame forward has died at the age of 84. Walker was a 7-time All-Star for the Sixers and Bulls. He was a key part for one of the great teams of all time, the 1966-67 Sixers that ended the 8-year championship streak of the Boston Celtics. Walker averaged 19 and 8 for a squad that also featured fellow Hall of Famers Wilt Chamberlain, Hal Greer, and Billy Cunningham. Later, he was traded to a Bulls team, averaged 20 alongside Wilbon's heroes Bob Love, Norm Van Leer, and Jerry Sloan.
Tony, I feel like I learned everything. Whatever I know about basketball, I learned from watching those teams. Jerry Sloan, Norm Van Leer, Bob Love, and Chet Walker. And in recent years, Tony, I began to talk to Chet Walker. We had phone conversations in the middle of the night. He was in California. He was in TV and film production and was successful at it. And he was just a pleasant, engaging, entertaining man. I know he felt a little left out as people, as players of that generation felt. Chet Walker was a great player at Bradley, with the Sixers, and with the Bulls. A great player who I just hope people will not forget.
Let us go to the big finish. Giants tight end Darren Waller retired. Are you surprised?
I don't know about surprised, but I thought he'd play on. But he had some really good years, particularly with the Raiders. So maybe he won't actually retire. The Dodgers took 2 of 3 from the Yankees. Your takeaway?
Lots of hitting. Aaron Judge had 3 home runs, 7 hits. Teoscar Hernandez, 3 home runs and a grand slam. Steelers gave Mike Tomlin a contract extension through the 2027 season. Is that a good move?
Yes, of course it is. Longest tenured coach in the NFL. Great move. Dornock won something called the Belmont Stakes. You familiar with that? Is that a big deal?
It was a really good race. It was in Saratoga this year. One of the owners of that horse is Jason Worth, who looks great. He looks like actually a drummer in a bad 1975 rock band. Last one, Linnea Strum shot a final round 60 to win the shop right. You impressed?
Yes. Not only with the 60, but she was 52nd to start the final round. She had to just hang out. She could have checked into a hotel and slept for 7 hours until the leaders played out and finished.
We're out of time. Trying to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Of course, she was the leader at the end. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts. And now, you know what's coming.
You ought to watch the Triple Crown. The races were great this year. They were great.
Offer, and he will return to chase a 3rd straight national championship in stores. Even before this courtship, UConn had made an offer to make Hurley one of the highest paid coaches in college. The offer, much more in tonight's PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon, do you think Dan Hurley's decision not to take the Lakers job was more about the Lakers or about UConn?
Tony, we're guessing now, but I'm going to guess more about UConn. That's familiar. That's been his home. He didn't build it. Jim Calhoun did that, but he inherited something and certainly has enhanced it by winning back-to-back, and he's got a shot at a 3rd. He's got a recruiting class. He's got players returning. He's got, everything is I'm not going to say ready-made, but it's pretty much in place for a run at another title, which would be a 3-peat. Who's done that? John Wooden, who's done that? Duke hadn't done that. Nobody has done that since John Wooden. So this is a good thing for college basketball, a good thing for UConn, and he's got to feel good about that. The Lakers is the great unknown. You don't know, you don't have any control in college basketball anymore, but you sure have very little in pro basketball.
Yeah, I think you can answer this both ways. I could say that it was about the Lakers in the sense that they were going to give him a tremendous amount of money. But if you go down the list of the people who have coached the Lakers since Phil Jackson, nobody has any tenure. Nobody's been there more than 3 years. And they churn right through you. And if you coach LeBron, that doesn't last a long time. Even though LeBron's not going to be in a league for that much longer, the track record there is you come in and you go out and you just go out with a lot of money. I think it's possible that he's an East Coast guy, Mike. I had a friend of the family tell me about a week ago that they never thought he was going to go to Los Angeles. If he's got an itch that he wants to scratch in the NBA in the next 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 years, however long it takes.
Oh, there'll be teams
Philadelphia,
jobs. Yeah.
Boston, New York, Washington. These jobs are going to come open if that's what he wants to do. I think that's possible. I agree with you. I would like it to be about UConn, and I agree with you that college basketball right now is chaotic. But I think there's a better chance that will be less chaotic than there's a chance that pro basketball players will listen to a guy who runs up and down the sideline screaming at them.
Here's what he couldn't do in pro basketball for the Lakers or anybody else.
Right.
He can't start screaming at fans like we've seen him do. Right. So, yes, it was going to take, I'm not going to say a personality transplant, but certainly an enormous adjustment for him and the evolution. He was going to have to move off that. But he's got something at UConn that's already, he's got a chance, right? He got a better chance of winning at UConn this year than at the Lakers next year. I'll say that.
Mike,
definitively.
When he came back, when he didn't stay in L.A.,
right,
when he made the announcement from the East, that's all you had to know. If he was going to take the job, he'd have announced it out there. He would stay. Right.
That's it. We're done. He wants to be on the East Coast. Don't listen to him. Back to you.